From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night on News Channel 5. Plus, big show ahead. You're going to have plenty of chances to participate as well. Number is 737-7767 if you'd like to get on the horn already. But a lot of things that we can talk about tonight. The Titans, obviously coming off a win, as players said to us yesterday. Essentially, they went into the hole with shovels finally on Sunday and started to dig themselves out from the 1-4 hole that they dug for themselves. And now they have an opportunity with the Redskins coming up on Sunday and then the Texans at LP Field a week from Sunday. A chance to win 2 more games, get back to 500 by the bye week, the midway point of the season. So that is the goal now for the Tennessee Titans. The hope for them is Jake Locker will be healthy or more healthy when he hits the field tomorrow for practice and will be able to play. That bruised right thumb, swollen right thumb will come down enough that he will be able to grip the football and be able to be out there and play. That is the hope for Jake Locker this weekend. College football, you got the SEC schedule out today. You've got the fact that Mike Slive is going to retire at the end of next summer. He's done wonders when it comes to college football and what it means. Obviously, Tennessee and Vanderbilt both with wins over the weekend against overmatched opponents. Now Vanderbilt heads into a bye week as they get set for Missouri in 2 weeks. Tennessee gets set for its toughest test yet. A trip to number 3 Ole Miss down on the Grove on Saturday. Can the Vols rise up? In a weird way, I almost like them better in this position. Not that I think they're as good as Ole Miss yet. But there's something about this Tennessee team that they're young and they've got talent. But when they've gone up against teams that people gave them no chance against, Oklahoma on the road, Georgia on the road, it seems like they had a spirited effort that sort of said, we got nothing to lose. Let's just go and let it all hang out and see what happens. And they played pretty well in both of those games. They at least showed no fear of going into those hostile environments and playing a team that no one gave them a chance to beat. When they've been favorites or a team that people think should win in the game, I don't think we've seen the best Tennessee in those games. So I think we're going to see a really good effort from Tennessee on Saturday. I just don't know if it's going to be nearly enough to beat an Ole Miss team that some people think is the best team in the country right now. What are your thoughts on that? 737-7767 is the number tonight. We also have Championship Series in Major League Baseball right now, and what a thriller this afternoon by the Bay in San Francisco. Giants got 4 runs in the first off John Lackey. The Cardinals continue to pound away in the postseason with home runs. They get 4 runs back. They get Colton Wong, Grichuk with home runs to tie it up, and then in the bottom of the 10th, it just all falls apart for St. Louis reliever Randy Choate. He walks the first guy. The Giants were actually unable to get the bunt down to move the runner over, so they were swinging away at 0-2 and got a base hit. With 2 runners on, Gregor Blanco comes up to try to sacrifice them both over, and Choate fields the ball and throws it down the right field line. Giants win 5-4, take a 2-1 lead in the series. Not the way you want to lose if you're St. Louis, but once again, another classic game between these two teams that have been the perennial powers in the National League in recent years. You got Baltimore with an early lead tonight in Kansas City. They're trying to get in the win column against a Royals team that's just one of 4 ever to win the first 6 games in the postseason. The Royals have been absolutely red hot so far this postseason. Your thoughts on what you've seen from the baseball postseason? Have you put much attention into it with football season going on? You also have the Predators on the ice tonight, tied 1-1 after 1 period against Calgary over at Bridgestone Arena. Preds off to a great start to the year. They have been offensive. They have been attacking under Peter Laviolette's new offensive system. And so far, they've worn that look good. They've really worn teams down. 3 goals in the third period of each of their first 2 games as they rallied back to win in both of those. You love to see that early on in the season. I know for Predators fans who enjoyed Barry Trotz, and he did such wonderful things for this franchise in getting them off the ground. But the last several years, I think the style, the defensive style that was sort of counter-attacking, I think grew old to a lot of Predators fans. And so to see this team attacking and moving forward more, I think has been welcomed over there at Smashville. Your thoughts on that? 737-7767 is the number tonight. We want to get your calls and get your opinions on the program. Phone lines are wide open. Let's go first to Jay. Jay, good evening. Welcome to SportsLine.
Hey, Steve. Good evening. I just want to thank Commissioner Slove. I think he's done an excellent job with the SEC. Wish him the best. And also, I'm a Vandy season ticket holder. I'm pretty upset with the way this coaching staff has done with this team. I was expecting more. I just think it could be a bad hire. The play calling is pathetic. If you saw the other night the game, it was pitiful crowd. And also Jameis Winston, I can't believe Florida State's doing what they're doing with him, and I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are wondering what Florida State will do with Jameis Winston. They obviously have a disciplinary hearing on everything that he's done coming up in about a week or so, I believe. Now they've got all this stuff out there in terms of autographs and memorabilia that he has signed. It appears to be a very similar case in that regard to what Georgia is preemptively suspended Todd Gurley for. The only difference is there's sort of a spurned memorabilia dealer who turned in Gurley, while Jameis Winston, it's just a mass amount of autographs out there on the table. The whole story, I think, can bring up a real good debate on whether college athletes should be able to make money if they're valuable enough off of their likeness and their name and their autograph. But when it comes specifically to Jameis Winston, what do you make of this? If you're an NFL GM or a scout and you're looking down there and you see all of this stuff, the BB gun incident, the alleged sexual assault, the shoplifting crab legs at Publix, the incident in the lunchroom or the student union earlier this year where he yelled an obscenity and was suspended for the game against Clemson. Now you have this. Just strikes me as a guy who doesn't get it. He's had plenty of opportunities. He's unbelievably talented, obviously. But it just seems like he doesn't get it. He doesn't get the responsibility required to be the quarterback at Florida State, or even more importantly than that, for the future, the quarterback and face of a franchise in the National Football League. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out, and not just in the next few days or weeks for Jameis Winston, but give it a year, give it 2 years, see what he does in the National Football League. I think Vanderbilt has been very disappointing this year. We talked about this the other day downstairs in the office. It doesn't look like the same program that James Franklin had on the field a year ago. And James Franklin did a good job at Vanderbilt. There's no question about that. But the more you watch this team, you have to wonder if James Franklin was a miracle worker. Because either he deserves way more credit than he's actually gotten for what he did at Vanderbilt, or this has just been an epic disaster by Derek Mason and his coaching staff. Maybe it's somewhere in between the two. But James Franklin clearly did something that no one else has been able to do at Vanderbilt. And Derek Mason has taken a very talented team and made them worse than average. They are not a good football team. Barely beating Charleston Southern at home is just inexcusable for an SEC team, especially an SEC team that has legitimate recruits and talent on its roster. And I go back to, again, and I've said this before on this program, when you're Vanderbilt and you haven't had sustained success over the years, and you lose a guy like James Franklin, you've got to capitalize on what he did for you. Because there's no guarantee the next coach is going to come in and have his own magic. And so when you have the recruiting classes that Franklin put on the Vanderbilt campus, this was a year where they needed to be in a bowl game. They didn't need to win 10 games. They needed to win 6 and make sure they were playing in a bowl game once again. And to me, when you're looking at that, what's the best way to do it? How do you keep things consistent for these guys? Put them in the positions where they've been successful before, where they've been confident before, and let them go out and play. See if you can capitalize off of the 18 wins and 2 bowl victories you have in the past 2 seasons. And Vanderbilt didn't do that. They went out and hired a coach to drastically change the offense, went from the 4-3 to the 3-4 on defense, and have a bunch of guys out of position to start this football season. And the interpersonal management of the quarterbacks, all that, that's been a mess too. But I think right from the start, that massive amount of change meant you were going to take a step back. And for a program that's used to taking several steps back, I just think that was a massive miscalculation by David Williams and the Vanderbilt staff. To think that they could hire a coach, make massive changes, and that this team and this program would be just as good, would be able to keep on rolling. Because the results on the field have absolutely not been that this year. We got to take our first break. Phone lines are lighting up, but we want to hear from you tonight. 737-7767 is the number. Your phone calls as we continue on SportsLine after this.